Today is my wedding to Mason. The makeup artist had just finished touching me up when Mason pushed the door open. Sophie, head down to the grand ballroom first. I've got something to take care of. I nodded, lifted the hem of my wedding gown, and started downstairs. The moment I reached the entrance of the grand ballroom at the Plaza Hotel in New York City, I heard a man's low chuckle. Chloe, you look breathtaking today. It was Mason's voice. I peeked through the crack in the door. Mason had his arms around Chloe, my maid of honor, and they were locked in a tight embrace. Chloe nestled shyly against his chest. Mason, it's your big day. You shouldn't be doing this. Mason stroked her cheek. I'm marrying Sophie only because she's holding the share transfer agreement I need. Does she actually think I love her? A junior partner at some law firm, worthy of marrying the Vansair? Chloe bit her lip. Then what about me? You're my darling. Once I get that agreement out of her hands, I'll make sure she leaves empty-handed. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. With that, Mason lowered his head and kissed Chloe. A chill ran through me. 3 years of feelings, and in his eyes it had all been nothing but a transaction. I quietly retreated to my room, pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app, then walked back to the grand ballroom as if nothing had happened. There you are, Mason. The guests have all arrived. Mason and Chloe sprang apart. He straightened his tie and came toward me with a smile. Sorry, babe. I was just going over the schedule with Chloe. He slipped his arm through mine as though nothing had just happened. Chloe walked up too, a perfect smile pasted on her face. Sophie, you look absolutely stunning today. I took in her flawless makeup and laughed coldly inside. This was my best friend, the maid of honor I'd personally chosen. Thank you. You're beautiful yourself. My tone stayed level. The wedding ceremony began. I walked down the aisle on my father's arm. Mason stood at the altar waiting, his eyes full of affection. Had I not overheard his words moments ago, I might actually have been moved by his performance. The officiant started the ritual. Groom, do you take Sophie to be your wife? To love her, honor her, and protect her, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do you part? Mason gazed at me soulfully. I do. When it was my turn, I looked straight into his eyes and spoke each word clearly. I do want to make you pay. During the ring exchange, Mason held my hand and whispered against my ear. Sophie, thank you for marrying me. I smiled back. It's me who should thank you. Thank you for letting me see your true face. After the ceremony came the banquet. I excused myself to change gowns, went back to my room, and scrolled to a number. Sydney. Dig into the relationship between Chloe and Mason. Sydney was my paralegal and the one person I trusted most. Got it. Whitman. I'll start right away. Within 10 minutes she called back. Whitman. Chloe and Mason have known each other for 5 years, longer than you and Mason. She's now general counsel at Vance Industries, pulling $5 million a year, and owns 3 properties, one of which Mason bought for her in Tribeca, Manhattan. I gripped the phone tighter. What else? She has a Hong Kong account that receives monthly transfers from Mason, $12 million in total over the past 3 years. So that was it. I thought I was Mason's girlfriend. In reality, Chloe held that title. I was just the cover they used to keep the world from suspecting. I drew a slow breath, changed into my second gown, and went downstairs again. The banquet hall sparkled. Guests were enjoying dinner. The instant Mason saw me, he came over. What took you so long? Changing gowns takes time. I slipped my arm through his. Let's start the toasting rounds. We moved from table to table, Mason repeating the same thank you speech at each. I simply observed everyone in the room. Mason's father, Charles, sat at the head table. As chairman of Vance Industries, he controlled 60% of its stock. According to the prenuptial agreement Mason and I had signed, if he committed infidelity, I would receive 20% of his shares as compensation. Back when we'd signed, Mason had teased me for being paranoid. Now it seemed my caution had been spot on. When the toasts were finished, Chloe came to my side. Sophie, can we talk privately? I glanced at her. Sure. She led me to the hotel's rooftop. The night wind was cold. She took off her wrap and draped it over my shoulders. Sophie, there's something I've wanted to tell you. I waited. Mason and I, actually. She paused, as though hunting for the right words. Actually what? I asked calmly. We've been together for a long time. A flicker of triumph crossed her eyes when she said it. I nodded. I know. Chloe froze. You know? I heard everything, in the grand ballroom. Her face drained of color. Then why did you still marry him? I turned to her. Because I wanted to see how long you two could keep acting. Chloe bit her lip. Sophie, since you know, you should step aside. Mason loves me. He only married you for that share transfer agreement. I laughed. Share transfer agreement? I took a document from my clutch. You mean this? The moment Chloe Chloe saw it, she went white. It was the prenuptial agreement Mason had signed. Its clause crystal clear. Should Mason commit adultery during the marriage, Sophie is entitled to 20% of his shares as damages. He signed quite willingly, I said, slipping the paper away. Maybe he believed his acting was flawless and I'd never find out. Chloe took a step back. What are you going to do? Nothing much. Just letting you know. Seeing the fear bloom on her face lifted my mood. Tomorrow I'll initiate divorce proceedings, and 20% of Mason's shares will become mine. As for you, little general counsel, how long do you think you'll last at Vance Industries? Back inside, Mason was chatting with several business friends. When he spotted me, he hurried over. Why were you gone so long? Where's Chloe? She felt ill and went back to her room. Mason furrowed his brow. I'll go check on her. No need. I curled my hand around his arm. It's our wedding. You should stay with me. He hesitated, then stayed, though I could see his mind had already raced to Chloe's side. By 10 o'clock, guests began to leave. Charles came up, patted Mason's shoulder. Mason, Sophie's a good woman, cherish her. Mason nodded vigorously. I will, Dad. Charles turned to me. Sophie, you're part of the Vance family now. If you ever need anything, come to me. Thank you, Dad. I answered sweetly. Charles left satisfied. After the last guests had gone, Mason slumped into a chair. Exhausting. These events are torture. I studied his slackened face. Yes, exhausting, especially when you have to perform all day. Mason blinked. What do you mean? Nothing. Just thinking you gave a great performance. I kept my tone light. A shadow of alarm crossed his eyes, but he quickly recovered. Sophie, you're acting strange. Strange how? I countered. Snippy. Not like the usual you. I smiled. Probably just tired. Mason exhaled. Let's go up and rest. Our bridal suite occupied the presidential penthouse of the plaza. In the elevator, he tried to hold my hand. I casually moved away. Sophie, my hands are cold. I brushed it off. Inside the suite, Mason went to shower. I seized the moment to message Sydney. Draft the divorce filing for 9 a.m. tomorrow at New York County Supreme Court. Her reply arrived instantly. Understood. Whitman. Mason came out in only a towel. Sophie, tonight's our wedding night. He walked toward me, desire in his eyes. I regarded him coldly. Mason, what do you think Chloe is doing right now? He froze. What do you mean? I mean, your darling's alone in her room. Doesn't she feel lonely? Mason's face changed. Sophie, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't? I stood, tapped my phone, and played the voice memo. Mason's voice rang out. I'm marrying Sophie only because she's holding the share transfer agreement I need. Does she actually think I love her? A junior partner at some law firm, worthy of marrying the Vance heir? When the recording ended, the room was silent. Mason was pale. Sophie, where did you get that? Take a guess. I slipped the phone away. Mason opened his mouth, groping for an explanation, but nothing came. Sophie, save it. Want to claim it was just a joke? I cut in. Or that you truly love me and only misspoke in a moment of confusion? Mason said nothing. Every excuse would sound hollow. Sophie, can we talk? Talk about what? The 5-year romance you and Chloe have enjoyed? Or the condo you bought her in Tribeca? The monthly Venmo transfers? Mason stared, stunned. You dug all that up? I'm a lawyer. It isn't hard. I walked to the window, my back to him. Mason, we're getting divorced. No. Mason lunged to his feet. Sophie, I won't agree to a divorce. You won't? I turned. That's right. I refuse. He nodded forcefully. I know I wronged you, but we just got married. We can't divorce so soon. It'll damage us both. I gave a cold laugh. Damage you? Or damage you and Chloe? Let me guess. You're rejecting divorce because you still haven't gotten what you want from me, right? Mason fell silent. I'd hit the mark. He had married me for that share transfer agreement, my father's legacy, and the only bargaining chip I held. Mason, did you think I was that gullible? I went to the safe, keyed in the code, and took out a folder. The share transfer agreement you want is right here. Mason's eyes lit up. However, I continued, I'm not giving it to you. Why not? He demanded. Because under our prenuptial agreement, if you cheat, I'm entitled to 20% of your shares as compensation, and this agreement will be crucial evidence when I sue you. Mason's face drained of color. Sophie, you can't do that, can't I? I challenged. Because he had no answer. Because you never expected me to find out? Or to fight back? Mason sat on the bed, head buried in his hands. Sophie, can we start over? I broke up with Chloe. Let's start fresh. I looked at him and felt nothing but contempt. Mason, do you honestly think that's possible? Why not? We just got married. We still have a chance. A chance? I shook my head. The moment you chose to deceive me, every chance died. I picked up my bag and headed for the door. Where are you going? Mason followed. Home. My My home in Brooklyn Heights. This is your home. I paused. No, this will never be my home. Sophie, you can't leave. It's our wedding night. I stared at him. Wedding night. Pretty sure that's supposed to be spent with Chloe. I walked out without looking back. I reached my apartment in Brooklyn Heights at 2 in the morning. The second I stepped inside, I collapsed on the couch. I'd braced myself, yet the hollowness still punched through me. 3 years. Gone in a heartbeat. My phone buzzed. Mason calling. I sent it to voicemail. He rang again. I declined. I powered the phone off. At dawn I was at Whitman Cole Law Firm. Sydney had every folder ready. Whitman, the divorce petition is drafted. Just needs your sign-off. I skimmed the pages. Perfect. File it at New York County Supreme Court today. Also, pull the latest project reports on Vance Industries. On it, she made a note and set a meeting with Charles. Sydney blinked. You want to see Charles? Tell his office it's urgent. She nodded. I'll call now. By afternoon Charles's secretary rang. 3 o'clock. I arrived at Vance Industries Manhattan headquarters on the dot. Charles's corner office on the top floor screamed old money. Sophie, what brings you here? Charles asked warmly. I slid the divorce petition across the mahogany. Uncle Charles, we need to talk about Mason. The smile vanished when he saw the heading. What is this? Mason committed infidelity. I'm filing for divorce. He stared, stunned. Impossible. Mason wouldn't. I hit play on the voice memo from last night. When the recording ended, Charles's face was ash gray. That little bastard. He slammed the desk. How did I raise such a son? I waited in silence while he collected himself. Finally, he looked up. Sophie, I apologize on behalf of the family. It's not your fault. Uncle Charles. He exhaled. I spoiled him. I thought marriage would steady him. Clearly, it didn't. Watching his pain stung, but there was no reverse gear. Per the prenuptial agreement I signed with Mason, I'm entitled to 20% of his shares. Charles nodded at once. You'll have them. It's only fair. There's one more thing. Name it. Mason's affair is with Chloe, Vance's general counsel. I want her transferred out of headquarters. Done. HR will move her to the Albany satellite office today. Thank you. I stood. Sophie, he called. Yes, whatever happens, you'll always be family to us. If you need anything, come to me. A lump rose in my throat. Thank you, Uncle Charles. I left Vance Industries and went straight to the courthouse. Filing the petition felt like jettisoning a deadweight. Back at the firm, Sydney reported Mason had shown up. What did he want? Begged to see you. I refused. He offered $10 million if you'd withdraw the filing. I snorted. $10 million. Does he think I'm for sale? I told him the next visit would end with security and the police. Good girl. That night a familiar Aston Martin idled outside my building in Brooklyn Heights. Mason climbed out. Eyes bloodshot, clearly sleepless. Sophie, we have to talk. There's nothing left to say. I keyed the lobby door. He blocked me. I'm sorry. Give me one more chance. Chance? Did you give me one while you were screwing Chloe in the grand ballroom? When you told her I wasn't good enough for you? Was that a chance? He had no answer. Love? I laughed. You wouldn't recognize love if it bit you. Loyalty, respect, honesty, those are love. You handed me lies and betrayal. Tears streamed down his face. 3 years. Sophie, doesn't that count for anything? 3 years? I shot back. How many of those days were real? Or were you just waiting for the perfect moment to snatch my share transfer agreement? Again, silence, because the facts spoke louder. It's over. Mason. No. He shook his head. I won't sign the divorce petition. You think that stops me? I'm counsel. I'll get the decree with or without your signature, only slower. His complexion turned a sickly white. And remember, I added, the prenup escalates. 20% today. 30 if you drag it out 6 months. There's a clause like that? You signed it, darling. Skimmed it. Actually, he finally nodded. I'll cooperate. Smart choice. Now leave. At the door he turned. I regret everything. If I could rewind, there's no rewind. Good. Bye. Mason. I shut the door. His footsteps lingered on the other side, then faded. I exhaled for the first time in days. My phone rang. Sydney. Whitman. Vance HR just announced Chloe's transfer to the Albany satellite office. Charles keeps his word. There's more. Chloe's Hong Kong account shows huge outflows, real estate and stock purchases. Where did she get that kind of money? Must have come from Mason. Totals over 20 million. I gave a cold laugh. Looks like Mason's awfully generous with her. Whitman, do you want me to keep digging? Dig deeper. The more detail, the better. Got it. I hung up and sank into thought. Chloe wouldn't move that much money without a reason. She's smarter than I thought. The next morning I was at my desk on another case when Sydney burst in. Whitman, something's happened. What? I set the file aside. Chloe crashed her car last night. She's in surgery now at New York Presbyterian Hospital. I blinked. A crash? Yeah. Sounds bad. Mason's been at the hospital all night. I frowned. Does this concern us? Not directly. But, Sydney hesitated. But what? One of Mason's friends posted on Instagram that Mason's ready to give up everything for Chloe. I snorted. Give up everything? Including divorcing me? Very possible, Sydney said, worried. If Chloe's life is really on the line, Mason could use it to stall. I thought for a second. We're going to the hospital. You're going there? Sydney asked, surprised. Yes, I want to see how this little drama plays out with my own eyes. When we arrived, Mason was slumped outside the OR, exhausted, eyes red. He actually looked wrecked. He jumped up when he saw me. Sophie, what are you doing here? Came to rate your performance, I said flatly. His face changed. What performance? Chloe's really hurt. I know she's hurt. I glanced at the doors. I want to know why she crashed. What do you mean? People don't just crash out of nowhere. Doesn't that strike you as odd? Mason went silent. Just then the doors opened and the surgeon stepped out. Family? Mason rushed over. I'm the family. How is she? Surgery went well, but she lost a lot of blood. She'll need quiet rest. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Mason exhaled like a condemned man pardoned. When the doctor left, Mason turned to me. Sophie, she's stable. Congratulations. I kept my tone cool. So when do we finish the divorce paperwork? His face froze. Sophie, I can't leave her like this. So you plan to stall? Not stall. He hunted for the word. Just what? I pressed. I have a responsibility to take care of her. Responsibility? I sneered. Mason, didn't you and Chloe already break up? We did. But what? Still in love. Can't let go? He had no answer. The ward door opened and a nurse wheeled Chloe out. Pale, gauze wrapped around her head. She looked fragile. Panic flickered in her eyes when she saw me. Sophie, why are you here? Came to check on you. I stepped to the gurney. Heard you crashed. Yeah. Driving home last night from Manhattan to Albany. Her voice was thin. How unfortunate. I studied her. Still, lucky, no life-threatening injuries. She nodded. Doctor said if help had come later. Was Mason the one who found you? I continued. She and Mason exchanged a look. Yes. He discovered me. Interesting. I mused aloud. The day after I filed, Chloe crashes, and Mason happens to be right there to save her. Straight out of a soap opera. Chloe turned whiter. Sophie, are you suggesting? Suggesting what? I smiled. I'm only an about-to-be divorced woman. I have no standing to suggest anything. I looked back at Mason. Whatever stunt you two are pulling, I don't care. The divorce petition hits your desk tomorrow. Sign it, or bear the consequences. He started to protest, but I'd already walked away. Outside, Sydney trailed me. Whitman, you think the crash was staged? Of course it was. The timing's too cute. What do we do? Keep investigating. I want to know exactly what happened last night. Back at the firm, I had Sydney call several private investigators. By afternoon, the first report landed on my desk. Whitman, I found something juicy, Sydney said, vibrating with excitement. Spill. Chloe did crash, but the spot was weird. An empty service road off the New York State Thruway. Almost zero traffic. And surveillance shows Mason arriving half an hour before impact. I narrowed my eyes. So he knew it was coming? Looks that way. The footage also shows her brake lights flaring right before the hit, like she floored it into the guardrail. Meaning intentional, I said. Crystal clear, not an accident. A choreographed pity play to delay the divorce. I underestimated how shameless they are, I muttered. Do we expose them now? Not yet. Let them keep acting. I want to see how far they'll take it. But we won't sit idle. What do you have in mind? Sydney asked. If they love drama, we'll give them a bigger stage. That afternoon I had Sydney tip off several New York media outlets. Whitman, what exactly are we doing? She asked. Uneasy. Since Mason and Chloe crave an audience, I'll oblige. Let the whole city watch their show. Next dawn, every major New York news site received an anonymous zip file, a minute-by-minute timeline of Mason's affair, voice memos, bank transfers, and the crash video. By breakfast it was trending. Hashtag Vance Industries CEO cheated on wedding night. Hashtag billionaire bride betrayed at altar. Hashtag fake crash to dodge divorce. Netizens overwhelmingly backed me. Make that scumbag leave empty-handed. Cheating on wedding night. No shame. That mistress is just as bad, faking injuries. Rooting for the heroine to break free. Mason phoned. Livid. Sophie, are you insane? Why leak this to the press? I leaked nothing, I said calmly. Then where did the story come from? Maybe a good Samaritan couldn't stomach it anymore. Good Samaritan, he roared. Who else knows the details? Anger won't help. Mason, the cities read your resume now. He went quiet. Sophie, are you trying to destroy me? Destroy you? I laughed. You destroyed yourself. I only turned on the lights. Your stunt benefits no one. Benefits me. Proves I'm no bitter doormat. just a woman with dignity. Another long silence. What'll it take to stop? Simple. Sign the divorce petition. I will, but you must retract the rumors about Chloe. Retract what? That she didn't cheat, or that her crash was real. Chloe's innocent. Blame me. Innocent? My voice iced over. A woman who sleeps with a married man for 5 years is innocent? He tried to speak. Couldn't. If you truly love her, get her out of this mess instead of dragging her down with you. I hung up. Sydney stepped in. Whitman. Vance stocks down 5%. The board's calling an emergency session. As expected. Any word from Charles? Charles told Mason to fix it immediately or expect a new heir. I smiled. Charles is a pragmatist. That afternoon Mason showed up at the firm. Haggard. Eyes bloodshot. Sophie. We need to talk. About? I kept my eyes on a brief. The divorce. Oh, you've seen reason? He sat. I'll sign, but I have conditions. Let's hear them. 1. Clear Chloe's name. 2. Cut the share payment to 10%. I lifted my gaze. You still think you're in a position to bargain? I know I'm not, but I have to protect her. Protect her? I scoffed. Ever protect me? When you held her in the grand ballroom, did you care how I felt? When you said I wasn't good enough, did you care about my pride? He looked down. I know I wronged you. Good that you know. I stood. Here are my terms. Honor the prenup. No negotiation. Refuse. And we keep dragging this out. Hurts you. Not me. He met my eyes. Sophie, must you drive us into the ground? Drive you into the ground? I stepped closer. If I wanted that, the person sitting here would be a federal prosecutor. Not me. Chloe's asset transfers border on fraud and money laundering. Hand these files to the Manhattan DA and see what happens. He stared. Horrified. You traced Chloe's money? I'm a lawyer. It's what I do. I slid another folder across the table. And the fun part. Her Hong Kong account didn't just get cash from you. Several other men were Venmo-ing her too. Mason's face drained of color. Impossible. Very possible. I tapped the neatly highlighted bank records. Over the last 3 years, at least 5 different men Venmo'd her money. The combined total tops $30 million. Mason picked up the document, his hands trembling. After he finished reading, he slumped in his chair. She lied to me. She lied to a lot more people than just you. I said coldly. You were only special because you happened to bring a wife with the wedding certificate. Mason covered his face. I'm such an idiot. Now you know. I looked at him. Mason, Chloe never loved you. To her, you were nothing but an ATM. He stayed quiet for a long time, then finally lifted his head. Sophie, I'm sorry. If apologies fixed anything, we wouldn't need the law. I replied evenly. I'll sign, Mason said. We'll follow the agreement to the letter. Good. I gave a satisfied nod. Sydney, draft the final divorce papers. A week later, Mason and I filed the papers and ended our marriage. He transferred the 20% of Vance Industries shares he held to me. No strings attached. We met one last time on the steps of New York County Supreme Court. Sophie, I owe you an apology, Mason said. He looked haggard. No need. I answered. From now on we're strangers. The ledger is balanced. I know nothing can fix this, but I need you to know I truly regret it. Regret? I studied him. You regret the loss, not the mistake itself. If Chloe hadn't conned you, would you be sorry at all? He opened his mouth, then closed it, because he knew I was right. Take care. I turned to leave. Sophie, he called after me. What? I didn't look back. If I ever become a better man, could we, ever? I paused, glanced over my shoulder. Mason, there are plenty of good women in this world. Just don't count me among them. Not for you. Anyway, I walked away without another look. Back at Whitman, Cole, Sydney had a bottle of champagne waiting. Counselor Whitman, congratulations on your freedom. Thanks. I accepted the glass, but there's still one loose end, which is Chloe. She had kept a low profile while recuperating, yet online chatter never stopped. Some pitted her, calling her another casualty. Some branded her a homewrecker. Most simply waited for the truth. What's your move? Sydney asked. I'll give her a choice. Option A, confess. Return every illicit dollar. Option B, let a judge decide her sentence. That afternoon I had Sydney serve her a demand letter. It listed every irregular transaction and its legal consequence, and gave her 7 days to decide. 3 days later Chloe called. Sophie, let's meet. We chose a quiet cafe in Midtown Manhattan. She looked better. Bandages gone, just a faint scar near her hairline. What do you want? She asked straight off. My terms are spelled out in the letter, I said calmly. Restitution of $38 million. Her face drained. 38. Where would I get that? Your Hong Kong account still holds 20, I said. The remaining 18 can be paid in installments. Chloe bit her lip. Why are you doing this to me? We used to be friends. Friends? I stared at her. Do friends steal each other's husbands? Do friends humiliate you at your own wedding? She lowered her eyes. I messed up, but I've paid the price. Which is a tiny scar? No, I lost Mason. You never had Mason, I shot back. He was just another cash machine on your roster. Chloe's face went white. You dug it up? Of course. I slid a folder across the table. 5 men, 30 million, busy portfolio. Chloe, she went limp. What will it take for you to drop this? I already told you. Every cent back. And if I refuse, then see you in court. I stood. Reminder, on these counts you're looking at 3 years minimum. Wait, fine, she blurted. I agree. Smart. I smiled. You have a month to raise the first installment. All right. She nodded weakly. I left the cafe lighter. Justice delayed is still justice. 1 month later the first 5 million hit my escrow account. Chloe resigned from Vance Industries and left the country, supposedly starting over in London. Mason's post-divorce life proved equally bumpy. Vance stock kept sliding, and confidence in him evaporated. Charles even began grooming Mason's younger brother as successor. As for me, I used the newly acquired shares to launch my own venture fund, one that backs female founders traditional firms ignore. Within 6 months, we'd seeded a dozen companies. Several were already outperforming expectations. A reporter asked why I focus on women. Because women know how rare a real chance is, I said. They fight twice as hard to make it count. Any comment on your ex-husband's current situation? I don't have an ex-husband, I replied. Only an ex-mistake. Once a mistake is corrected, you don't revisit it. The following spring an ivory envelope arrived, Charles's invitation to Vance Industries' 50th anniversary gala at the Waldorf Astoria. I almost tossed it, but Sydney insisted. You're the third largest shareholder now. Show up and flex your vote. Besides, she added, rumor says Charles will announce something major. I agreed to make an appearance. The hotel ballroom glittered with New York's elite. I wore a black tailored suit and walked in alone. Heads turned. The Mason-Sophie saga was old money folklore. Mason spotted me, hesitated, then approached. Sophie, you came. I'm a shareholder. Business is business. Time had not been kind to him. Salt streaked his temples, and the swagger was gone. How have you been? He asked cautiously. Better than ever. I meant it. Life after him felt purposeful and clean. Good. He nodded. I heard about your fund. Congratulations. Thank you. I offered nothing more. Charles took the stage. Friends, thank you for celebrating half a century of Vance Industries. Today, I announce my retirement as chairman, effective next month. The board will elect my successor. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Mason's jaw tightened. Charles continued. I urge shareholders to choose the leader best suited for the next 50 years, not merely the next of kin. Every gaze swung to me, the swing vote in a dynastic power play. After the toast, Charles asked for a private word. What's your view on the next chairman? He inquired. Competence beats blood, Uncle Charles. My thoughts exactly. He sighed. Mason disappointed this family, and the company, too deeply. I'm leaning toward a professional CEO, someone like General Mike Harrison. Solid choice, I agreed. May I count on your support? You may. A week later the board voted. Mike won by a landslide. Mason received only a handful of courtesy ballots. After the session he caught me near the elevator. Sophie, thank you for not voting against me out of spite. Spite doesn't compound share value, I said. A healthy Vance lifts my stake. He gave a rueful smile. You're more of a businessman than I ever was. You taught me the lesson. Business and emotion don't mix. Mason looked me straight in the eye. Then let me apologize for real. Not because I lost, but because I now see exactly how I wronged you. Accepted, I said. But acceptance isn't forgiveness. Some damage can't be undone. I understand. Good. I turned to go. Sophie, one more thing. What? I hear you've been seeing William from the New York Bar Association. William was our outside counsel, and, lately, the man who walked me to my car after board meetings. Nothing official, but the rumor mill had noticed. I arched an eyebrow. How is that your concern? It isn't, Mason said quickly. I only hope you find someone who truly loves you. You don't have to worry about me, I said, looking straight at him. I'll handle it. Chapter 9. 2 years later, I married William. It was a small wedding in the Hamptons. Only close friends and family invited. Nothing like the lavish spectacle of my first ceremony. This one was simple, overflowing with sincerity and warmth. William is meticulous. He knows my past and never holds it against me. He said, everything you've lived through shaped the woman you are today. And that's exactly the woman I love. On our wedding day, a bouquet arrived. The card read, wishing you happiness. Mason. I glanced at the note, then set the flowers aside. Sydney asked if I wanted to respond. I shook my head. Some people step into your life to deliver a single lesson. When the lesson is over, you say goodbye. The ceremony unfolded without a hitch. William spoke heartfelt vows in front of everyone, and when I said I do, every syllable came from the heart. This time I believe we'll grow old together. Married life is calm. We each pour ourselves into our careers yet always carve out time for one another. My venture fund fund has grown into one of New York's most respected female-focused VC funds. William's firm is steadily expanding, and we back each other professionally every step of the way. A year later I was pregnant. When I told William, he almost jumped out of his skin. Really? We're having a baby? Yes, I laughed. You're going to be a dad. He held me like I was made of glass. Sophie. Thank you. It's our baby. Why thank me? Thank you for building a family with me. For giving my life its missing piece. I leaned against his chest. Happiness flooding every cell. This is real love, mutual support, mutual elevation. During the pregnancy, William took meticulous care of me. He even turned down major cases so he could be present. Careers can wait. A wife can't, he'd say, words that stood in stark contrast to Mason. Our daughter arrived healthy and loud. We named her Lily, hoping she'll grow into a thoughtful, articulate woman. Cradling that tiny life, I finally felt complete. All the pain of the past had composted into nutrients for growth, making me cherish the present even more. William is a wonderful father. However busy, he maximizes every minute with her. Watching the two of them tumble across the rug, my heart feels too full to hold. This is the life I want, ordinary yet real, simple yet saturated with joy. When Lily turned 3, we moved to a house in Westchester County, green lawns, clean air, perfect for raising a child. While unpacking, I sorted through old belongings and donated most. Among the boxes were my wedding photos with Mason, along with a few souvenirs from that era. William found me wrapping them in newspaper and pulled me into a hug. Does it still hurt? He asked softly. No, I said, shaking my head. It feels like someone else's story now. That version of me taught me plenty, but she's gone. William nodded. Now you're my wife. Lily's mom. Exactly. I smiled. I'm Sophie. I'm Whitman. And, most important, I'm still myself. That evening the three of us lounged in the new living room. Lily stacked blocks. William read a brief. I answered company emails. An everyday tableau, and everything I longed for. I remembered a question Sydney once asked back at the firm. Whitman, what do you consider real success? Then I'd answered, corner office, financial freedom. Now I know success is finding people worth protecting, sharing your life with someone who loves you back, raising a healthy, happy child, and waking up at peace. One autumn day, 5 years later, I was in a board meeting when my phone buzzed with an unexpected call. Charles. Sophie, I need to discuss something with you. He sounded exhausted. What is it, Uncle Charles? Concern tightened my throat. It's Mason. He's been diagnosed with clinical depression. He's in the hospital in upstate New York. What happened? The doctors say it's severe. He needs family support. I was quiet for a moment. What do you want from me? I know this is a lot to ask. But, Charles hesitated. But, he keeps asking to see you, to apologize face to face. The doctors think it might help his recovery. I understood a father's desperation to save his son, but I wasn't sure a visit would help anyone. Uncle Charles, let me think it over. Of course. Call me when you decide. After we hung up, I stared out the conference room window. I thought I'd left the past in the past. Yet the news still stirred rough waves inside me, not love, just echoes of shared years. That night I told William everything. Do you want to go? He asked. I don't know. My head says stay away, but my heart says I should look in on him, if only for closure. William squeezed my hand. Whatever you choose. I support you. You're not jealous? He smiled. I trust you, and us. If seeing him finally lays those memories to rest, do it. The next afternoon I drove to the suburban hospital in upstate New York. Quiet corridors smelled of antiseptic and fallen leaves. Mason occupied a single room. I knocked and entered. He sat by the window, staring at the parking lot. Seeing me, he blinked, then offered a brittle smile. Sophie, you actually came. Uncle Charles said you wanted to see me. I pulled a chair to his bedside. He'd lost at least 30 pounds. His hair was almost silver, aging him a decade. You look wonderful, he said, eyes roaming my face. Married life must agree with you. It does. No point lying. I heard you have a daughter? She's 5 now. Congratulations. I'm sure you're an amazing mom. Silence pulled between us until I broke it. How are you feeling? Better than before. At least I'm admitting what I did. He rubbed the blanket's seam. These years I've drowned in guilt and regret. I'm not asking forgiveness. I just need you to know how sorry I am. Looking at his gaunt cheeks, my feelings tangled. Mason, let the past stay where it is. We've both built different lives. I try, but I can't, he murmured. I lost the most important person I ever had. Most important? I held his gaze. If that were true, you wouldn't have betrayed me on our wedding night. He dropped his eyes. I was an idiot as vanity and lust rotted my brain. Only after I lost you did I learn what love actually means. By then it was too late. I exhaled. Don't live in yesterday. You're still young. Start over. Start over? His laugh cracked. Sophie, some mistakes can't be undone. Once certain people are gone, they're gone. I rose. I should leave. Sophie, Thank you for coming. It means more than you know. I paused at the door. I hope you truly leave the past behind. Focus on treatment. Build something new. That's the best ending for all of us. He nodded. I'll try. One more thing. I turned back. If you really want atonement, do something that matters. Help people who need it instead of marinating in self-pity. His eyes sharpened with the faintest spark. You're right. I'll think about it. Driving home, my emotions churned. Seeing Mason broken gave me no vindictive thrill, only the chill reminder that everyone pays for their choices. William and Lily were waiting in the kitchen. Mommy, where'd you go? Lily wrapped her arms around my knees. I visited an old friend who's sick. Wanted to make sure he's okay. Is he better now? He's on his way, I said, lifting her. Sweetie, want a bedtime story? That night I spun a tale about forgiveness and growth. Lily's eyelids drooped before the dragon found its courage, but I hoped the seeds of compassion took root. A month later, word reached me that Mason had checked out of the hospital. Instead of returning to the boardroom, he launched a charitable foundation for underprivileged kids' education in New York City, and poured every remaining dollar of his own money into it. Sounds like a beginning. At least he's trading remorse for action. 2 years after that, I spotted a headline. His foundation has sent over 1,000 children to school, and Mason himself received a Civic Achievement Award from the city. In the photo, his smile is genuine, the haunted look gone. I'm happy for him, not because I still love him, but because change proves it's never too late to choose kindness. That evening, William and I strolled the garden while Lily chased fireflies. Do you ever think about him? William asked. Sometimes, I admitted. Not with longing, just gratitude. Gratitude? That we walked away. That I found you. That we have this. I gestured at the porch light spilling over our daughter's hair. William threaded his fingers through mine. I'm grateful too, for every step that led me to you. Thanks for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. See you next time.